All right, ready to dive in? Today we're looking at Brutal Ambition.
By Sam Mariano.
That's right, Brutal Ambition by Sam Mariano. And, we're doing a deep dive into the Goodreads page.
Goodreads. Always a good time.
Yeah, so we've got, the author's descriptions. We've got that juicy plot summary.
You do?
And we've got tons of reader reactions to sort through.
Oh, yeah. This one's going to be a wild ride, I can already tell. Buckle up, listeners.
Yeah, and this isn't your typical, run-of-the-mill romance.
No. This is dark romance we're talking about here.
We're talking secret societies, morally gray characters.
Oh, yeah.
Intense relationships.
The whole 9 yards.
The whole 9 yards. So right off the bat, what's interesting to you about this one?
Well, what grabs me is how Mariano plays with this classic dark romance trope.
Okay.
The whole anti-hero is protector thing. We've got our heroine, Bryn, college student, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she barely escapes this, ritualistic sacrifice.
Oh.
Only to find herself, drawn to her rescuer, who is...
Of the irony.
Yeah, who is part of the very society that almost... ended her.
Oh, that's juicy.
Yeah, so much tension there. Talk about blurred lines.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit. The Blue Bloods, this secret society that Killian belongs to, sounds pretty messed up.
Yeah, they have a pretty dark history. Their origin story actually involves this kidnapping and violation of a young woman.
Wow.
Which is, eerily similar to what almost happened to Bryn.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah, it really makes you think about these cycles of, power and violence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a good point. So how does that history then, play into Killian's character?
It's crucial, right? He's described as this, controlling, possessive, jealous guy.
Classic alpha male.
Right. But I've noticed some readers see a kind of vulnerability in him.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, a fear of repeating the Blue Bloods' past.
He's seen how bad it can get.
Exactly. So he's determined to protect Bryn, but, to the point where he crosses boundaries.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, dips into, manipulation territory.
Okay, well, I'm seeing something interesting in the reviews.
Okay, what's that?
A lot of comparisons to Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, interesting. I didn't catch that.
Yeah. Bryn loves costumes. There's this big scene in a Parisian opera house.
Okay.
And Killian even wears a mask for part of the story.
So are we thinking Mariano is intentionally playing with those themes, the obsession, hidden identities?
Yeah, I think that parallel is worth exploring.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, both Phantom and Brutal Ambition deal with these characters that are drawn to darkness,
Right.
outside societal norms.
Mm.
And there's that same sense of passion, danger, love, and obsession all mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a recipe for disaster, but you can't look away.
Yeah. Well, Brutal Ambition isn't all, doom and gloom.
Right.
There's actually a lot of humor in the Goodreads reviews. This one plot point, I just can't... Okay, spill the tea.
Killian catnaps Bryn's pet, Toast.
Wait, hold up. He catnaps the cat. What?
It's her cat named Toast. He catnaps it.
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
And it's like this crazy gesture of possessiveness, but readers are finding it hilarious, but also kind of endearing.
Oh, I see. So it's that playful side of dark romance. Even the most intense stuff can have humor.
Yeah, exactly.
And let's be real, a cat named Toast caught in a dangerous romance. Come on.
It's too good.
That's gold. Okay, so we've got this intriguing premise. We've got a morally gray humo. We've got a sprinkle of humor.
Mm-hmm.
But what about Bryn?
Yes.
Sam Mariano describes her as sweet, innocent, almost naive.
Mm-hmm.
And some readers are even using, I saw this a couple of times, the term TSTL, too stupid to live.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is that a bit harsh?
I mean, it's a strong reaction, but it does point to this ongoing conversation in dark romance, right?
Yeah.
Readers, they want their heroines vulnerable, but they also want them to have, agency.
Right.
So maybe Bryn's naivete, it's a deliberate choice by Mariano to, heighten the power imbalance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we see it a lot, this kind of dynamic, but it's definitely a point of contention.
It's a tough one. It seems like, Mariano's trying to walk this tightrope.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to create a heroine who's sympathetic, but can also hold her own against, this dominant alpha male.
It's a delicate balance.
Yeah, and some readers love it. Some find it problematic.
Exactly. And that actually brings us to a term that keeps popping up. dubcon.
Dubcon.
Yeah. Dubious consent.
Okay.
Where the lines of consent are kind of blurred.
Okay, so for those who maybe aren't super familiar with the dark romance lingo,
Right.
can you break that down a little bit?
Sure. Dubcon, it's basically situations where there's like coercion, manipulation, a power imbalance that makes it hard for one character to truly consent.
Okay.
It's definitely a common element in dark romance, but it's also one of the most debated.
Yeah, I bet. So how does this dubcon play into brutal ambition? I mean, we know Killian is controlling.
Yeah.
And he's determined to keep Bryn safe, even if it means, bending the rules a little bit.
Yeah, and that's where things get, like, really interesting, because Killian, he's engaged to someone else.
Oh.
The entire story.
Okay.
Yeah, which just adds another layer of, like, moral complexity. He's pursuing Bryn, but he's, bound to this other woman. So it raises questions about his motives, his ethics.
Yeah, no, that's messy.
Very messy.
Very messy. And then, we've got these side characters, Hex and Aiden,
Yeah.
who are apparently even more morally gray than Killian. Yeah, and readers are buzzing about them, some even demanding, like, their own spin-off stories.
Like, everyone's, like, fascinated by the bad boys all of a sudden.
What do you make of that?
Well, there's definitely a trend, right? Embracing these, like, morally gray characters in fiction, and especially romance. Maybe it's the escapism, the thrill of exploring those darker impulses, vicariously.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like a reflection of our own world, It's getting more complex, clear-cut heroes and villains. Not so much anymore.
Right, yeah, more gray areas all the time.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got this mix of darkness, humor, gray areas.
Tons of gray.
It's no wonder the Goodreads reviews are all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Some are praising Mariano for returning to her signature style. Others criticizing the book for being predictable or lacking depth.
It's always going to be like that, right? You can't please everybody.
You can't please everybody. So with all this in mind, I guess the question for you, the listener, is what draws you to dark romance?
Yeah, good question.
Is it the intensity of the relationships, the exploration of these kind of forbidden desires, the thrill of seeing characters break the rules?
Right.
Keep that in mind as we dive deeper into these Goodreads reviews and try to understand why Brutal Ambition is such a polarizing read.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's get into those Goodreads reviews.
Yeah, let's see what people are saying about Brutal Ambition. And like we said, reactions are kind of all over the place.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It really seems like people either love it or they hate it. Not a lot of middle ground.
Nope.
But I'm really curious about those readers that are praising Mariano, for returning to her signature style.
Right.
What does that even mean?
Well, she's known for these alpha male characters.
Yeah.
Super possessive, controlling. Walk that line between protector and tormentor. And her earlier books, those heroes. Intense.
Oh, yeah.
Bordering on cruel sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So are readers saying that Killian is like a toned down version then?
Some seem to think so, yeah. They're describing him as almost quote-unquote sweet.
Sweet, okay.
Yeah.
Sweet is relative, I guess, in the world of dark romance.
Oh, totally. We are still talking about the guy who catnaps his love interest's pet.
Right. But it is interesting that some people find it endearing. His possessiveness,
Yeah.
Is it because he's trying to protect Bryn?
Yeah.
From this dangerous secret society?
I think that's a big part of it. He's seen how ruthless the Blue Bloods can be. He knows the risks. He's determined to keep her safe, even if it means, taking things a little too far.
Right. Speaking of too far, a lot of reviewers are mentioning the spice level. Apparently, Mariano doesn't hold back.
Oh, she never does. Not when it comes to those intimate scenes, but that's dark romance for you.
Yeah.
Passion, intensity, dialed up to 11.
So it's not just physical attraction.
No. It's about those power dynamics, the emotional complexities,
Right.
Exploring those through those intimate encounters.
Right, okay. But I've noticed that those same elements that some readers find exciting, others are finding concerning.
Understandably so.
There are quite a few reviews that mention, the whole dubcon thing, and whether the book, romanticizes these unhealthy relationships.
Those are valid concerns.
Yeah.
It's important to have those conversations
Yeah.
about how fiction portrays consent, power imbalances, especially in a genre like this one, which often pushes those boundaries.
Yeah, it's about finding that balance between exploring those themes and being mindful of the impact on readers. Some reviewers are also saying brutal ambition is too predictable.
Right.
Or relies on familiar tropes.
Yeah, it's a common critique. Any genre, readers get fatigued if it's the same storyline, the same characters over and over again.
Right.
It's a challenge for authors balancing expectations with creativity.
It is. And then you have those readers that they can't get past Bryn's naivete.
Right.
They're frustrated with her decisions.
It makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
It goes back to wanting those heroines who are both vulnerable but strong. Seeing a character who can hold her own, challenge that alpha male, make her own choices.
So the question is whether Bryn's naivete serves a purpose.
Exactly.
Or if it's just undermining her agency. Do you have any thoughts?
I mean, maybe it's a way for Mariano to highlight that power imbalance.
Okay, yeah.
She's young, inexperienced, thrust into this world of secrets, danger, and he's older, powerful, used to being in control.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe it's about that journey of self-discovery.
Yeah.
Bryn finding her voice, her strength within the context of this intense relationship.
Exactly. Not condoning Killian's behavior or anything.
Right.
Or excusing her naivete. It's more about understanding their dynamic and how it feeds the story.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of dynamics, what about those side characters? Hex and Aiden.
Ooh, those two.
They're stealing the show for a lot of readers.
Yeah.
What is it about them? Why are they creating so much buzz?
Well, they're both even more morally ambiguous than Killian.
Okay.
Hex, shrouded in mystery, dark past, dangerous vibes. Aiden, he's more outwardly manipulative, ruthless, enjoys playing with people's lives.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they both embody that bad boy archetype.
Right.
So popular in dark romance.
It's like readers are drawn to the danger, to these characters that are outside those, conventional rules of morality.
Right.
But it's interesting. They're generating so much interest, even though the story is already full of morally gray characters.
It makes you wonder what it says about dark romance as a genre.
Yeah.
Are readers becoming more comfortable with those darker themes characters? Are they looking for stories that push the boundaries even further?
Maybe it's a reflection of our own society. The lines between right and wrong are getting blurrier.
Yeah.
Every day.
It seems that way.
Corruption, abuse of power, people operating without a moral compass. It's everywhere. So maybe dark romance offers a way to process that.
Could be.
Those anxieties, to explore those impulses.
Right.
But in a safe space.
Right.
Fictionally.
Or maybe it's just escapism.
Yeah.
Pure and simple. Indulging in those fantasies that would be, taboo or dangerous in real life.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a genre that makes you think about the characters.
For sure.
About our reactions to them.
Absolutely. And that's what makes it so interesting, It's not just the romance, the steamy scenes. It's about those big questions. Morality, power, the complexities of human desire.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. So as we move into the final part of our deep dives here, I want to leave you with this thought.
Okay.
What is it about these morally gray characters that captivates you? Is it their confidence, their willingness to break the rules, something else entirely? Keep that question in mind as we explore the broader thematic implications of brutal ambition. So we've talked a lot about the characters in Brutal Ambition and the controversies and all that.
Definitely controversial.
But I kind of want to shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
Talk about some of the bigger themes
Sounds good.
that Mariano is weaving into the story.
Okay.
We talked about the Phantom of the Opera thing.
We did, yeah.
But I feel like there's more there.
Yeah, I think you're right. it's not just those surface similarities. You know, both stories, they really explore this draw, this pull to the forbidden, to darkness and intensity, like the phantom, you know, hidden away in his lair, becomes obsessed with Christine, wants to control her, mold her into his vision.
And we see that with Killian and Bryn.
Oh, absolutely.
He's always trying to protect her, keep her away from the dangers of his world, but it ends up
backfiring,
isolating her. And he's exerting this level of control that's
a little creepy.
Phantom-esque.
Totally. It's like he's building his own opera house, this world where he sets the rules, keeps Bryn safe from all these, you know, outside threats.
Right.
But that kind of isolation, it can be just as dangerous.
Oh, absolutely. And then there's, you know, the secret societies.
Oh, yeah.
Always a good time.
Always.
The Blue Bloods, their rituals, the history of violence. I mean, it really taps into that fascination with hidden worlds, right?
Sure.
Power dynamic.
It's like you get to peek behind the curtain into this world that most people will never see.
Yeah.
And that's alluring.
It is. But it also makes you wonder, you know, what's the price of that exclusivity?
Right.
That origin story with the kidnapping.
Yeah.
It's dark.
It is.
Let me see, does that kind of power always come at a cost?
Does it corrupt inevitably?
Tough questions.
Yeah. And then, you know, we've got obsession.
Oh, yeah. Classic dark romance theme.
Killian's obsessed with protecting Bryn. Bryn gets fixated on Killian. And then you've got Hex and Aiden adding their own baggage.
Oh, yeah. Those two. Always going to stir the pot.
It's like this web of obsession. Each character caught up in their own, you know, desires, fears. And that intensity can be intoxicating, can it?
Yeah.
To be, like, consumed by another person. Exhilarating, but also kind of scary.
Yeah, that push and pull, that's what keeps you, you know, reading.
Keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of keeping readers hooked, a lot of the reviews are talking about the plot twists.
Oh, yeah. Mariano loves a good twist.
And brutal ambition.
Yeah.
We've got Killian's engagement, the mystery with Hex, and then little glimpses of characters from her other series.
It's like she's building this whole universe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Interconnected stories, characters, events. They all, like, ripple across the books.
It's smart.
It is.
It rewards the dedicated readers. It gives them that sense of familiarity.
Right, like you're in on the secret.
Yeah, exactly. But I do wonder, can brutal ambition stand on its own?
That's a good question.
You know, for readers who aren't familiar with Mariano's other work.
From the reviews, it seems like there's enough there to keep them engaged. But those connections...
They add something, don't they?
Yeah, like another layer.
For sure. Like a little bonus.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got all these classic dark romance tropes. We've got, you know, these interesting themes, a suspenseful plot. But what makes it so polarizing?
Right. Why do some people love it and others just can't stand it?
Yeah.
I think it really comes down to personal preference. You know, how comfortable each reader is with the dark stuff.
Yeah.
Some people are drawn to that intensity, the forbidden desires, the rule breaking. Other people find it unsettling, maybe even triggering.
Yeah. And then there's that whole debate about how to handle those sensitive topics, like consent.
Power imbalances.
Some readers, they want to see those lines pushed. Others want a more, you know, responsible approach. Yeah.
And I think it's important to say there's no right or wrong answer.
Absolutely not.
What one reader might find empowering, another might find offensive.
Totally depends on your perspective.
It really does.
Your own experiences.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into brutal ambition, we want to leave you with this.
Okay.
How do you define dark romance?
Ooh, that's a good one.
What are those essential elements that make the genre so compelling? And where do you draw the line between, you know, entertainment and problematic content?
Good question.
It's a conversation worth having.
Absolutely.
And we hope this deep dive has given you some food for thought as you explore this world of dark and twisty romance novels.
Keep it spicy, but keep it safe.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next deep dive.